Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Tuesday. Wow, I thought it was Thursday. Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Good to have you all here for our first of two shows this week. Obviously, if you look around, you see that we're doing the show from someplace different in my house. Normally, I do it from a dining room table. I'm doing it in the living room tonight because for a couple of reasons. One, I was having some issues with this. We had a lot of issues tonight. First of all, I would have been late anyway, but not this late. I'm running much later than planned. Some things ran late tonight, but the other reason I'm running late, an additional reason why I'm running late, is because we had some technical issues. I just could not seem to get a connection, and I kind of had to move around to three different locations until I found a place to get a connection. I finally did, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that tonight. But we'll have to figure it out. But so I know the lighting isn't the best. It's kind of bright and it's kind of weird, but just bear with me tonight until I figure this out. And again, sorry for the very late start tonight. I let you all know 10 o'clock and it ends up being 10:30, so I do apologize for that. Another thing it does too is, my daughter's been having a hard time falling asleep. So it's kind of hard. I can't be really loud, and it's kind of hard to kind of figure out, how to, do the show and not wake her up and all this other stuff. So I'm trying to figure things out here. So I'm hoping if we can get something figured out and do the show, maybe even in here or someplace else, it might help. But that's a whole other story. More or less, I couldn't get on the air. So, but we are on the air now, and I decided to change things up a little bit because originally this was going to be an all wrestling show. Remember, I'm trying to do topics on Tuesdays that my co-host Mike, because he's available on Tuesdays, can engage with. So to that end, I moved the wrestling stuff to Tuesday, the Royal Rumble preview, all that stuff to Tuesday, just so that we could, get his input on all that. But I decided, because these two topics don't require a lot of discussion, to move some topics off of Thursday to tonight, so that we could get his opinion on those topics as well. So I added the Oscar nominations that came out today to tonight, and I also added the MLB Hall of Fame announcement because it was obviously a huge deal today for a number of reasons. So we'll do that before we get to all the wrestling stuff, because really the Royal Rumble, there's not as many matches to cover. So when there's not as many matches to cover, you have some more time to do other things. So we can do these other things and not go too long with the show. So we're gonna do those things here tonight, and that will mean a shorter show on Thursday. But I think that's good because we can kind of mix. I think people seem to like when we mix these topics up a little bit. So I had it planned for all wrestling, but we're gonna throw a couple other things at you tonight as well. I kind of look like a ghost phantom right here. It's kind of weird. It really is weird. You don't know that because you don't see it. Anyway, my wife just came into the room, so I'm not talking to air. Sorry. So yeah. Anyway, while we wait for Mike to come on, let's get to our usual business here as I finish off these links. I miss Jeff Tech. He used to do all the work. All right. Okay. All right, so without further ado, as always, before we get going here on the show, if you'd like to interact or contribute to the show and have your voice heard, email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And as always, you can find us on Facebook. Just search In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page so you can see everything that's going on, interact with us, and all that cool, fun stuff that everybody likes to do on Facebook when you're interacting with your favorite shows and blogs and podcasts and all that stuff. All right. My wife is a total distraction. She doesn't realize that. Anyway, okay. So without further, I'm gonna get some cute mail about that. That's why I do that. Yeah, helps build a fan base. Anyway, we got so like I said, we have a mixture of stuff going on. We have the Hall of Fame, MLB Hall of Fame stuff. We have the Oscar nominations, and then we have the wrestling. Again, Royal Rumble stuff, and Royal Rumble coming at you this Sunday on the WWE Network. So if all this going down tonight, what's going to happen on Thursday? Well, what's going to happen on Thursday is that we are going to have, let's see, we'll do our usual box office beat. We'll have the TV highlights return. People ask me about the statistics for the awards nominations from last week. I'll get those to you on Thursday. Haven't had a chance to really go over all of them. I got through half of them. So we'll do that on Thursday as well. We'll also look back at NFL Championship Sunday, which was one of the best Championship Sundays, if not the best Championship Sunday. You couldn't have asked for better. 2 overtime games. Really, just a total shame that that there's more focus on the calls instead of the games themselves, because the games were really, really good. Unless you don't like the Patriots, but even then the game was good from a football standpoint. So yeah, we'll talk about Championship Sunday's great results. We'll give an early preview of the Super Bowl. Obviously, we'll wait till next week to do a full preview of the Super Bowl. So we'll do all that on Thursday's show, and the next week, like I said, we'll do a full Super Bowl preview. We'll also do college basketball on Thursday as well. Any big stuff from there, any other stuff that comes up, any other big sports headlines, wrestling headlines, whatever. Even though we're doing a lot of wrestling tonight, if anything big breaks, obviously we'll talk about it on Thursday too. So Thursday will kind of just be, a mixed bag, just like we've been doing, because I think that works good for us for the moment. And then, like I said, next week we'll do a full comprehensive Super Bowl preview. We'll probably do that on Tuesday. Maybe we'll wait till Thursday. I don't know. We'll see. We have the freedom to do that. We'll obviously do a Royal Rumble preview, Royal Rumble review next week, along with Raw and SmackDown highlights and all that good stuff will be coming at you next week. So we'll have 2 shows next week. So how I divvy up the topics will depend. We'll see. We'll probably do most of the wrestling stuff next week on Tuesday. We'll probably do the Super Bowl stuff on Tuesday. I think we'll do the Super Bowl stuff on Tuesday. We'll see. And then Thursday we do the entertainment stuff, because I think by Tuesday we'll pretty much have an idea of the injury reports and all that other stuff. So yeah, that'll be what's going on next week. And then after that we'll talk more about that in the coming days. Okay, so it's total distraction. That's why I don't like doing it in the living room. That's why I do not like doing shows in the living room. Total distraction. Total distraction. Okay. All right, so let's get down to business, because if we wait for Mike to come on, copyright infringement. Okay, she's going to start singing that song. That song it's Hercules, right? Is that song from Hercules? What song is that from? Oh, Milan. Why do I always think? Okay, so let me explain, because people probably can't hear this. She was singing "Let's Get Down to Business," and I always think of that for some reason. I'm gonna get tons of mail. Thank you for this. People always think that. Well, I don't pick people though. I always, for some reason, think of Hercules when I hear that. I do not know why.
That's because you're
Okay. Anyway, all you folks need to know is that for some horrible reason, I think of Hercules when I hear "Let's Get Down to Business," and it's really Milan. So, yeah, that's bad. I know, but it's always the thing I think about. So she was, when she heard me say "Let's Get Down to Business," start singing that song, and I'm like, "Don't do that, copyright infringement. I'll get a flag. I don't want that. Don't do that." No, it's not Mike. Mike's not here yet. All right, so you're really derailing my show. Okay, so. She don't realize she does. She derails it every single time she walks in the room. She thinks she's funny, but she's cute. That's all she is. Okay, you can't do that either. Yeah, lucky you. All right, so this is a family friendly show. Okay, get the college and that she's doing some awful things with her finger. That's all you need to know. Very bad person. I can say it on air. Doesn't mean I'm saying it. Oh shoot, yeah I do. Okay, scratch that. What I mean by she's doing awful things with her finger, that means she's flipping me the bird. That's what I meant. Don't think of it. And oh my God, this show's off to a great start. It's like Jeff Tech has come back all over again. Wow, goodness. Wow, we're off and running, folks. We're off and running. It's not even sweeps. Okay, so let's talk about something else. Let's completely Where the hell is Mike? Good Lord. Um, if she wants to be a part of the show, you completely derail it. Actually, this is probably good. This is probably good. This is bringing ratings. Actually, this is pretty entertaining. I won't lie. Probably the most vibrant the show's been in a year or so. Um, anyway, it's hard because you guys can't hear her. Guys and girls, I should say. Guys and girls can't hear her. So it's like talking. Well, maybe they can. I don't know. Sometimes people can hear it, and sometimes can't. But anyway, so now that we got that whole derailed topic, derailed segment of the show out of the way, um, while we're waiting for Mike, and now that I've gotten everything out of the way, oh, by the way, one quick thing, because I have to be nice and to our fans. Thank you to everybody that participated, at least so far, in the Spotlight Film Awards. Y'all did a wonderful job. The nominations were fantastic. And the process has already gotten going, so we're already off and running. So as we approach the awards in February, and again, those of you that are going to help to decide the live voted awards nominees, you're also involved now too. Thank you to those that are participating as well. It was a complete success on Thursday night, and we look forward to having equally as good of a night on the Film Awards night in February. So good job to everybody that's involved in that. I had to state that because, I want to be nice. And Mike has joined us, thank God. Because, Mike, before you got here, my wife was totally derailing the show. She's sitting here and completely distracting me. So, doing
What,
such.
what makes you think I'm going to be any better?
You sound on air.
Well, she flipped me the bird, and okay. Let me just say something. I did something really bad because I said she's doing horrible things with her finger instead of just saying she flipped me the bird. You know how that sounds. So,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
no, Brian. That was the right way to say it. You did fine. Don't worry about it.
That's why. That's why I said for a minute there. I thought Jeff Tech was here because the inappropriate humor that was going on was
But that's half the fun. No, you said
Yeah.
it the right way. It's okay. She
Okay.
was doing an inappropriate thing with her finger, Brian.
Mike claims you did it the right way. I said it the right way. That it saying because that brings more attention to it. So that's what we want. Anyway, yep, he agrees with me. He does. He agrees with me.
I do.
He does. He does agree with me. See? Okay.
It's more interesting that way.
You're a fool on air.
Oh my God! Stop. Okay. Anyway, we got things to do. Like I said, not Mike's here. We're gonna do a couple quick topics, then we'll go into the wrestling stuff because, like I said, there's not that many matches on the Rumble, and you can't really name. I mean, the Rumble is just kind of like an overview anyway. So, so we had a couple things that transpired today. Let's do the entertainment stuff first. First, we had the Oscar nominations that came out today, which I have to say were probably the best group of nominees in years. Michael, I think will agree with me. It's nice to have, when you look at the nominations, to have at least 3 movies that people have actually seen, and if any one of them wins, you're going to at least remember it.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think I think one of them could win, but that's about it.
Now, I will say this, okay? I'm noticing a trend here with these nominations because when we started the award season, I noted that there wasn't a favorite, and then we've been kind of tracking it from the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice, and it's starting to become apparent now. I think we have 2 movies here that if the Oscars decide to go with their usual thinking, can win. It's Green Book and it's Roma. Now, I understand that Roma is a foreign language film, and foreign language films traditionally do not do well at the Oscars. They don't usually get in the Best Picture. They don't whatever, right? We know that. But it's directed by somebody that the Academy loves, Alfonso Cuarón. It has Netflix behind it, which spent a lot of money to get it where it's gotten, and they might think that is the revolutionary thing to do, to have a Netflix movie win. And here's the other thing that the Oscars did that no other award show did: they gave Roma 2 acting nominations. Nobody else did that, which makes you think that they have totally bought in to Roma. Which, if you're somebody that's excited about what the Oscars did today with the nomination, like, oh, there's diversity. Oh, it's a nice balance of popular and small budget. Oh, this is great. We might finally see a movie that I actually care about win, or that I'm going to remember win the Oscar. Don't be so sure yet, because there's something to what I saw with Roma's nominations say that makes me think that might be the movie. Just judging by the amount of nominations that it got.
Well,
Um,
let's be totally honest here. Let's just be totally honest here. It's probably going to be the favorite this year,
mhm,
because despite everything, the Oscars cannot get out of their own goddamn way. What was the
correct.
major headline for today? What was it? Go ahead. What was the major headline for these Oscar nominations? Major headline is
Uh,
Black Panther has been nominated for
yeah,
Best Picture, so it's in there.
right,
And
right.
then Bohemian Rhapsody is there, and then A Star Is Born is there, and then Vice is there, and all these movies are doing pretty well, and Green Book is doing okay. Black KK Klansman is
Right.
one of those movies that speaks to a social injustice as well. But if they go with Roma, I don't. Who cares? Sincerely, who
Yeah,
cares?
that's the one that
The,
people are not going to remember.
no, and this happens. You know what happened today? I saw. We watched. I was home. It's my day off. We watched Les Miserables, 2012, and we was on the case. It was like Best Picture nominee 2012. I had to stop and think, who won Best Picture that year?
Hmm.
Couldn't figure it out till I looked it up. It was Argo. Apparently, it was Argo.
And Argo was one of those movies that did pretty well.
It did
Um,
pretty well, but it was
so
okay. But you know what? It's 2019. Which movie did I remember more?
yeah,
Well, I remember the fucking Les Miserables before. Les Miserables more.
I remember
So
that. Yeah,
here's the thing: Black Panther. You can like it, you don't like it. I don't care. But people have an opinion about it. It made $1 billion, and it was a revolutionary movie for an entire culture. It's an important movie, and it might not be the best movie. Might not even been the best superhero movie this year. In fact, there were probably two better superhero movies this year. Doesn't
mm,
matter.
right.
For what it did for an entire group of people, it should be at least considered. Or Bohemian Rhapsody could be considered. It's going to have some issues with the original director, and the fact that won the Golden Globe, and they didn't even mention the fact that there was a second director who pretty much saved that production. It's
Right.
kind of a black mark.
Right.
Might have cost them the Oscar. Uh, Vice. Vice is an interesting movie, interesting concept, and well acted. But holy shit, if you're going to go with, and I don't care if Netflix is behind it or not. Netflix is also behind several recent Adam Sandler movies, and we're not going to hold that against them. If you're the Academy, come on.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. No, Alfonso Cuarón also directed one of the least interesting Harry Potter movies, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
So
Um.
that's the thing. All right, okay, but if Roma wins, who gives a shit? We're gonna forget about that movie next year, because what are we gonna be talking about? Black Panther and Infinity War, excuse me, Endgame.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about for the Bohemian Rhapsody next year, especially with Rocket Man coming out.
That's a good point.
We
Yeah.
might even be talking about A Star Is Born this time next year, because it was one of those freaking musical movies that does great. And hey, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper are successful still. Um, but if it's Roma, who gives a shit?
Um. You're right, and
And and my final point is, even the people who like Roma probably won't give a shit at least 2 months after they see it. They don't give a shit.
I do think it's cool to see a foreign language film get this far. I just think it's cool that these actresses got nominated. I think that's great. Now, but here's the thing, okay? When we started award season, nobody was talking about it ending up where it did. And I have to wonder if maybe this is just what was settled on by, the conventional traditional Academy members. Like, hey, you know what? If you're going to get all these movies, we're going to get this one. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what's going to happen. Because you look at the other choices, you said it yourself. There is some cultural relevancy going on here. There is obviously political and politics involved with Vice. There's that quirky kind of movie that is they always throw in the, like in the terms of the favorite. There's a little bit of everything here. I will say this though, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I didn't think Bohemian Rhapsody had a chance in hell. I didn't. I know it had the momentum. I said you can't write it off because it won the Golden Globe, right? And it's been doing well during awards. He's been nominated, but it wasn't nominated at the Critics' Choice Awards. You know what I mean? That like you like it just felt like this is one of those movies that's just going to get snubbed. You know what I mean? When I saw that on the nomination list this morning, I was stunned. That one stunned me. I wasn't so stunned about Black Panther because Disney spent a lot of money at the expense of Mary Poppins Returns. Because they could have gotten that movie in.
Probably.
They could
Mary
have.
Poppins Returns got in. They probably would have. It might be considered for a win.
I feel
the
bad
first
for
one definitely did.
I feel bad for Emily Blunt because she had 2 movies this year, both of which she had acclaimed performances for, and she got snubbed for both of them. And I do, I do think she got. I think that was she was a victim of Disney going all about. They wanted the headline of Black Panther because of the superhero movie, because of the cultural relevancy. They wanted that. That's what they wanted to go for, and I get that. You know what I mean? There was a lot
Mary Poppins Returns is a more traditional movie for Hollywood anyway, so it didn't get in. And look, and honestly, none of the choices this year are traditional Hollywood.
No, you're right.
They went. I mean, other than maybe the Green Book, but they went in a totally different direction. Except for Roma, which is what it is.
I do. I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing about this is, you look at all these movies; they've all had some good momentum in the last few weeks. Here's the thing that I just want to point out a few things here. First of all, Spike Lee getting nominated for director, and obviously, Black Klansman, he's a producer on that. Awesome for him. He's had a long career. This is cool that he gets to, gets these accolades. Also, people don't realize Jordan Peele was also involved with Black Klansman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second year in a row that he's gotten recognized. So that's a great achievement for him. Obviously, Black Panther, Marvel, Kevin Feige. It's a big deal for them. It's kind of like a nice thing for Marvel. It's like, look how far they've come. Mm-hmm. Bohemian Rhapsody, we already talked about. There's a lot of controversy there, but it still got in. That's the power of the voting base that it has. So don't write it off for a win. Don't. Because if it could get this far, there's something going on there. The Favorite, again, that quirky movie. Green Book's Peter Farrelly, which is awesome for him. A Star is Born, Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga, obviously, and Vice. Who would have thought they would give so much recognition to Adam McKay?
It was just one of those movies. They said, you know what? But it probably won't win.
I mean, he even got a director nod.
Yeah, he got a director nod. I mean, it's pretty much wrapped up. They're going to give it to Alfonso Cuarón.
Well, I will say this. I was more shocked by the director's nomination list than I was probably anything else. Because
the director's nomination list is weird.
It is, isn't it? I mean,
because you got Spike Lee and Adam McKay, and it's like, okay. And then you've got Yorgos. Okay, sure. Then Alfonso Cuarón is going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I had Alfonso in, obviously, and I had Spike and Adam in.
What the fuck is Cold War?
I mean, look, Yorgos I thought had a chance, but he hasn't really been getting, the push.
But what the fuck is Cold War?
I mean, really just completely just a weird actress.
Any other year for, I'm looking at actor because it kind of goes in that. Any other year for leading actor, Christian Bale probably wins, but it's probably going to get Rami Malek this year.
I think the fact that Bohemian Rhapsody got nominated for Best Picture tells me that Rami Malek has enough of a voting presence to win.
Yeah, he's going to win.
I mean, I think if Bohemian Rhapsody hadn't been nominated for Best Picture, I would think Bale's going to win. That would be my feeling. But no, I
Rami
think you're right.
Malek's been pretty much winning the whole time. And by the way, what the fuck is Can You Ever Forgive Me? Have you heard of that movie?
I have. I have, and it doesn't surprise me to see the acting nods it's getting. But it's pretty cool for Melissa McCarthy.
I mean, sure, it's good. You mean, I guess. I'm not a big Melissa McCarthy fan, but what the fuck is Can You Ever Forgive Me?
But listen, we all know Olivia Colman had some momentum, but really this race is between Glenn and Lady Gaga. For that actress award, that's who it's going to go to. It's between Bale and Malek for actor. But I think we have a clear favorite in Rami Malek at this point. Actress is a little bit more of a tighter race, I think. Supporting actress, I think, is pretty much Regina King's to lose. Although, who knows? Emma Stone's a favorite. Amy Adams is a favorite. But I think Regina King's probably going to get, especially since If Beale Street Could Talk hasn't been recognized. That's another movie that people thought would be nominated for Best Picture, and it didn't.
What the fuck is If Beale Street Can Talk?
I'm just going to say look it up because it's something based on some of the movies that were nominated. You should be shocked that it wasn't nominated. That's all I'll say.
Brian, you and I both know that I will not be doing that.
Okay, well, whatever. Then it's your situation. But I mean, look, Barry Jenkins did it. Of course, he did Moonlight.
Wow, never mind.
And it had a lot of push behind it. I'm really shocked that it didn't get nominated. But a supporting actor, hey, Adam Driver's there. That's pretty cool. Sam Elliott, Sam Rockwell, who's pretty much it's almost every year in this category now.
And Mahershala Ali, who probably will win.
He's probably going to win, but I've heard some people say that Rockwell might get pushed here too. So we'll see. I mean, he's. I think it'll be Ali though. I do think that'll be who it gets it. It's a good category though. Original screenplay, no shot. There's nothing in the screenplay categories that is interesting, but I will say this much: if you go to animated, but first of all, let me just point out Lady Gaga, the first actress to be up for leading actress and original song. That's she's going to win original song. We know that.
Is she though?
Yeah, she is.
Is she though?
Yeah, I think she is.
Is she though?
Anyway,
let's be honest here. Is she though?
I believe she is, Mike.
No, well, unfortunately, when favorites and song usually are up, they don't win.
That's a good point. Original score should be an interesting race, although I think I've heard a lot of people say that it's probably going to be either Black Panther or Mary Poppins Returns will probably get that.
Yeah, so that's going to be If Beale Street Could Talk then. So yeah,
good point. We could also talk about the major snub in documentary.
Oh,
the movie that was supposed to sweep.
What is supposed to sweep?
Will You Be My Neighbor?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah, that was one that was talked about very heavily today.
That was not a good idea. Well, RBG's gonna probably win, but Will You Be My Neighbor should have been in.
Mm-hmm. Everybody thought they were going to sweep. That's what was the thought.
That was the correct choice, and they fucked up
big time.
Well, we're at -1 here for the Oscars.
Animated was pretty much what you expect it to be.
Isle of Dogs got in. Oh, that's gross.
That movie's been doing so well all award season, and plus it's Wes Anderson, so.
Isle of Dogs, though, is a racist piece of literal dog shit, though.
Can't go wrong with the other nominees.
It's interesting, though. It's like you have Isle of Dogs as a racist piece of dog shit, which kind of represents Japan as pretty horrendous. And then you've got Mirai, which is an actual Japanese animated film.
Mm-hmm.
Which should have gotten more attention than Isle of Dog shit. God.
Well, thankfully, we know what's going to win the category.
No, it's going to be Spider-Man. It's the Spider-Verse, and as it should be. Oh God, why did they nominate Isle of Dogs? That is disgusting.
And by the way,
-2.
It shows you what
they nominated Isle of Dogs, but they forgot. Won't you be my neighbor? Oh, I'm sorry, -3. Oh, gross.
I hate to break it to you too, but Isle Dogs did pretty well with our awards on last week too on nominations.
I'm going to go to the bathroom now. I don't want to hear this.
By the way, it shows you what kind of year that we've had. That a lot of people, the discussion was, that a lot of people were having a discussion today that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse should have been nominated for Best Picture.
It should have. I'm still going to the bathroom though.
That was being said by a lot of people today as well. And by the way, we were wondering what Cold War is. It's a foreign language film from Poland. So, if you're wondering what that was, and I'm sure it's a fine movie. It just was pretty shocking to see the director from it nominated. This was really an interesting, a very big year for foreign language films. I mean, Roma doing what it's doing, Cold War having a director nod, and it's pretty interesting to see that. A couple other little things, a movie that everybody thought was a slam dunk months ago, First Man, really didn't do much. Didn't get nominated for any of the big awards. Didn't even get an original score nod with Justin Hurwitz, which everybody thought was a lock. Like we said, Mary Poppins Returns, which had mixed reviews, but had been doing so well all awards season. Emily Blunt was snubbed pretty badly for both her roles that she played. That everybody thought she should get recognition for. Let's see what else is there. If anything else is there, not a lot of love for Mary Queen of Scots, which everybody thought was a movie that might get some traction. And then you got Ethan Hawke and Toni Collette, who everybody thought were potential shoo-ins. Neither one of them got that recognition for their roles either this year. So some interesting snubs, and then some big breakthroughs, both in diversity and, of course, in in genre. There is something I want to say though, because this was a big source of discussion, not only today during the Oscar nominations, but throughout the entire award season. Obviously, one of the big topics in the last decade when it comes to the Oscars and any award show is diversity. And we've come a long way with that, and you're seeing that with these Oscar nominations today, and you saw at the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice and whatnot. But one of the other big topics in the last few years, obviously with Me Too and everything, has been women. And last year, a big discussion point was female directors, and it continues to be. And obviously, how women in Hollywood are treated, and the roles they have, and all that. And again, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of things that still need to change in regards to that. But one thing that was mentioned today, well, not one thing, but it was mentioned today by a number of people on social media and elsewhere. Because obviously there was a lot of talk after the nominations came out today. Well, no female directors, no, nominated, and very few female script writers. And let me just say something, okay? Because I'm an advocate for it. Last year I thought Greta Gerwig should have been nominated. She wasn't. I don't care if you're male. I don't care if you're female. I don't care what race you are, whatever. If you deserve to be nominated, you deserve to be nominated. Whether it's for director, writer, producer, screenwriter, whatever. Okay. We should not just nominate for the sake of nominating. Because here's the thing. Let's name a movie this year that deserved to be nominated from a female director.
You shouldn't ask me that question. I don't know.
Okay. Because I'm struggling to find one. Last year I could have probably named a few. There really wasn't a whole lot this year in that regard. Now this year, I think, from what I understand, there will be quite a few that could potentially be in the mix. Again, you don't just nominate. We need change. But you know what? Let's start with getting women more director jobs, more screenwriter jobs, lead screenwriter jobs, more producer jobs, more bigger jobs in film and TV. Because that's where it's going to start. The more jobs that they get, the more recognition they're going to get. You can't just throw nominations at anybody And it's because, well, we need to have it's like, oh, we need to have a quota or something. Like, no, that's not how it works. Yes, we have a lot of diversity in these nominations this year, but because a lot of those movies deserve to be nominated. A lot of those actors deserve to be nominated. Writers, producers, whatever, a lot of them deserve to be nominated this year. So that was fine. That's the way it should be. You nominate what deserves to be nominated. Not just, well, boy, you know what? We need a woman to be nominated. Let's just throw one out there just for the hell of it. That's not how it works. That's not how it should work for anybody. And I'd feel the same way if women were if the category was all women and there weren't that many male directors that directed something that was worth it. I would say the same thing. Because you nominate what deserves to be nominated. We've gone through this over and over and over again over the years. When the Oscars have played favorites and everything, we said this. You're trying to recognize the best of the best in film for that year. Best of the best in TV at the Emmys or whatever for that year. That's what you're trying to award and recognize. We're not just, it's not a participation trophy. Okay, it's not, well, let's throw them a bone. No, that's not how it works.
I mean, in theory, is how it works for smaller movies.
It is for the smaller movies, but you know what I mean? And look, if there was something, and I'm going to tell you this right now, if there was something that they could have justified nominating, if there was something up there, I mean, they had a chance last year and they didn't do it. But if there was, oh God, what was the name of that movie last year?
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, if there was a Wonder Woman, they should have threw a bone at Wonder Woman. They should have last year and they didn't. So, I mean, I'm all for it. So don't go thinking that I'm not for it. I'm all for it. If there was something this year that deserved it, then I would have been sitting here saying, you know what? Should have been nominated. But there wasn't. At least not in my opinion. Believe me, there's plenty of slots that I would have advocated for them to replace, especially in director. I could have taken 3 people out of that category. And if there were 3 women that I thought deserved to be there, I would have gladly put them there, believe me. Because chances are their movies would have been, in my mind, probably better. So let's not. There needs to be change. There's a lot of work to do with both diversity and what's going on with women and how there's a lot of work to do. I am not disputing that. But it's going to start with getting women into more directors' chairs, more writers' chairs, more big positions on films. That's where it's going to start, because the more jobs they get in film, the more bigger jobs they get in film, the more recognition they're going to get, because they're going to be involved. And they're going to have more opportunities. Right now, they're not getting those opportunities, and that's where the change needs to happen. And once the change happens there, you'll start seeing it. Because look what's happening with diversity. Look at what we're seeing in these nominations. African Americans and Asians and others. Look what's happened in foreign language films this year at these nominations. And that's because we're seeing more casts that are diverse. We're seeing more African American lead actors and actresses at the focal point of movies. We're seeing a lot of significant changes. And you're seeing that now in these nominations. And if women get into and have that same transitional change, if you start to see more women directors, if you start to see more women writers, if you start to see more movies that are like, let's take a look at Black Panther. Let's say somebody decides to do a movie like Black Panther where it's mostly female cast members, something along those lines. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Once you start seeing these things happen, then I think you'll see the same level of change in regards to women in these awards. But until you see that happen, because that's where it's got to start. It can't just be throwing out token nominations. And I don't think women should want that. I don't think anybody should want that. Like, oh, I just got a nomination because they had to nominate a woman. That's not the way it should be. It should be like that for women, men, anybody. So as a whole, I thought these weren't bad. There were some that weren't great, but it's better than usual. So we'll see what happens in a month. We already had the Producers Guild. Green Book won there. So, like I said, I think Green Book, I think if you look as it looks right now, I think Roma and Green Book are the favorites, but we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, we have our film awards in a couple weeks, so, you have those. And so if you don't like what happens to the Oscars, you have those. But anyway, that's our, we wanted to react to the Oscars. We did. Nominations, we did. Now let's react to something that for the first time ever, we probably won't have any problem with, because that says a lot, because we've been very much, as we jump to sports now, very much against the baseball writers and the way they handle things. But they finally got it right today. They did. They finally got it right today. We finally have a Hall of Famer that's unanimous. And could it have gone? I mean, it went to a guy that I don't think anybody should have a problem with, who's already had so many accolades in his career. I mean, Jackie Robinson's number was retired, and he was allowed to continue to hold that number. He's the last guy to be able to keep that number. And you know what he did in his career, Mariano Rivera, and now he gets this accolade, which is just, and everybody wants to think Jeter's going to get that next year. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I really don't. So I think Mo's probably going to be the last one for a while, if ever, because you know how the baseball writers are. And let's also bring this up too. A few weeks ago, there was a writer that basically recused himself from voting, decided not to even bother with a ballot this year because he didn't want it, because he said he was going to vote no on Mariano Rivera, and he didn't want to be that guy. So he said, you know what, I'm just not going to vote. Because I think he knew. And as the day went on today, if you're tracking the ballots, you kind of got the idea that this could happen. But just seeing that for the first time, 100%, was surreal to see that. And he deserves it. Mario, he deserves it. There was nobody better at that position. I don't think there ever will be anybody else better at that position. And here's the other thing that I thought was cool about this Hall of Fame class. It righted quite a few wrongs. Not only did it write the unanimous thing, and the idea that somebody like Mariano Rivera could be, not be a unanimous pick, but also, get that much of the vote, because closers aren't always looked at fondly, especially in this day and age. So to do what he did today is pretty astounding. But here's the other thing. Edgar Martinez finally got it. Edgar Martinez, who should have been in first ballot because of the fact of what he did for the designated hitter position, and how tough of a guy he was to get. And by the way, here's what's funny about Edgar Martinez. He was Mariano Rivera and Pedro Martinez said he was the hardest guy for them to get out. So it's kind of funny that he's going there with Mariano Rivera. Obviously, the late Roy Halladay gets in, which is bittersweet. But he deserves it, and I'm glad he's getting that accolade. And then you also have Mike Messina, who I did not think, and Mike knows this. I think Justin would ask me this all the time. He was one of the guys that he asked me a lot about Mike Messina. Would Mike Messina get in? Kind of like, I think it was what Mike Messina, Kurt Schilling. I think it was like a group of 5 pitchers that were kind of like borderline guys. Pettit might be another one. Would they get in? And I didn't think Mike Messina would get in. But he got in. Now, do I think did he deserve it? I think when you look at it, probably. I think what really I think a lot of pitchers that ordinarily wouldn't have gotten in are going to get in now, and here's why. You see the steroid guys, whether they have high speculation or whatever, not getting in, right? If they're doing that, if that's the way they're winning, well, we're not going to put the steroid guys in. I think they're going to put a lot of pitchers in that ordinarily wouldn't get in because they know that these pitchers pitched during an era where, in their minds, there wasn't an even playing field. It was hard to pitch in the steroid era. So there's this feeling that the numbers for some of these respective pitchers would have been better in another era. So it's almost like grading on a curve, if you will. And I think that with Messina, he pitched in the steroid era. He pitched his entire career in the American League East, which is one of, if not the toughest division to pitch in Major League Baseball. A long-standing career. And I think that's really what they looked at with him. And maybe Pettit would have gotten in too from his postseason numbers, but because Pettit was tied to Roger Clemens and some of the steroid stuff, might be why Pettit's not getting more of a look. So, what that tells me, though, and I know he's outspoken, a lot of people hate his opinions. I'm going to be honest with you. If Mike Messina got in, Curt Schilling should get in. That's just the long and the short. Forget his opinions. For what he did in the postseason alone, he should get in. That's hard for me to say. This is the truth. But this is a great class. It writes a lot of longs. You get a guy like Messina in that ordinary probably when he got in. Edgar Martinez, who's long overdue. Roy Halladay, who totally deserves to get in. And then finally, your unanimous Hall of Famer and a guy that gets in unanimously and with a huge, and even if he didn't get in unanimously, he would have gotten in with a huge percentage of the vote, which is something that's notable because, again, the closer position is not always looked at as a position that's as a position that's well respected. A lot of the newer writers, more recent writers, look at it that way, but a lot of the older writers don't. They don't, it's a one-inning thing now, and the way bullpens are and everything. Look, Mariano pitched in an era that wasn't quite like that. He had a lot of multiple inning saves. A lot of multiple inning saves. So I don't think you should ever view him in that same vein as you look at bullpen pitchers or closers now. And just looking at him as a pitcher, just a pitcher in general. Nobody did what Mo did with one pitch. And he probably could have kept pitching. The man could have been an all-star center fielder. He was an incredible athlete. So kudos to him and this entire class. It's one of the best Hall of Fame classes they've ever had. I will be there for this. I haven't gone to Cooperstown in a few years. I will be there for this. It's a great class, and it's something that in a long time I can honestly say the writers got it right. Kudos to them. I don't really like what they did a couple months ago with the the Legends Committee with Baines and that I didn't think those guys did it again. But these guys they got it right here today, and they deserve praise. When they get it right, they get it right, and it was a cool thing to see. So kudos to them. Great class. It's gonna be a great ceremony this summer, and I look forward to it. Mike, you had to be shocked they actually voted somebody in unanimously, huh?
A little bit, honestly. Now these baseball writers can't use Ruth didn't get 100%, so nobody should bullshit anymore.
Right.
So the excuse is now finally off the table. And look, older baseball writers are what they are. But when you have a once-in-a-generation talent who ends up being the best who ever played his position, even if it was relief pitcher, or even if it was the closing position, it's still one of the hardest positions to play in baseball, closing pitcher. Why? Well, you go out there with a lead, and you have to get the toughest 3 outs in baseball every night. Or how many times a week Mariano did it. Sometimes it was 3, sometimes it was 4, and sometimes he wasn't out there. But the last 3 outs are the toughest outs to get, period. And nobody has done it more than Mariano. Nobody has done it more in the postseason than Mariano, and nobody has ever been the most clutch player at that position than Mariano. He's the greatest player who's ever played that position. And look, there are people on social media that said, "Oh, it should have been Ken Griffey Jr." Well, yeah, no shit, it should have been Ken Griffey Jr. But if Babe Ruth didn't get it, then why should Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That excuse was bullshit. Yeah, it should have been Ken Griffey Jr. And let's be clear, it should have been Babe Ruth. But politics kept it from happening. It was just good that Mariano finally got the. He finally got it. He's the best. He's the greatest closer of all time. He's one of the nicest guys in sports. Still is. There's a sweet video with him celebrating the phone calls with his
Yeah.
family today.
Yep.
And look, and if you have this stat, then you should be in the Hall of Fame unanimously. Nobody should vote against you. In 141 postseason games, he has 11 earned runs off of them.
Mm-hmm.
11 guys have scored a run.
Mm-hmm.
And the stat is, it's like he has less people who scored off of him in the playoffs than people who have walked on the moon, which is ridiculous. And there are some people like, oh, well, so and so, I forgot the name, but he pitched this year. It's like, oh, so and so, according to these statistics, is better than Mariano Rivera. Well, so and so gave up 7 earned runs in this postseason.
Nobody. I remember. I think I mentioned this to you a few times off the air. Remember 2009, the last World Series Yankees won, and all those other we had all these great closers that were in the playoffs, and every single one of them blew multiple saves, and one guy didn't. It was like a referendum on why he's the best closer in the game, and he was pitching multiple innings.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing that people don't realize: he could have kept pitching. He just didn't want to be one of those guys that overstayed his welcome.
Oh, the guy they were talking about. Some of these people were talking about was Craig Kimbrell.
Oh, Kimbrell! Oh God, Kimbrell's I think in this year's for the Red Sox. I think this year's playoffs he gave up a run in almost every appearance he was in. If I remember correctly. Every time I turned around, he was in a row.
They said that Craig Kimbrell statistically is a better.
Yeah.
It's like, please no, get in fucking line and get a fucking clue. I mean, excuse my language, but apparently that dude gave up 7 earned runs in the postseason last year. Mariano gave up 11 in 19 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
11 earned runs in 19 years.
Yeah.
Well, let's call that spade a spade. Even Trevor, look, if Trevor Hoffman had to choose the best closer of all time, do you think the words Trevor Hoffman would come out of his mouth?
Nope.
He knows better. If Trevor Hoffman went to the Hall of Fame last year, and for exactly 1 year, Trevor Hoffman, what might have been, much like his career, for exactly 1 year, he was the saves leader.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 1 year, wasn't it?
Yeah. For exactly 1 year, he was the all-time saves leader, and then Mariano caught up and blew by him.
All was right with the world.
So it's the story of Trevor Hoffman's entire Major League career. For 1 year, Trevor Hoffman was the best closer in the Hall of Fame. And now Mariano Rivera walks in with a 100% voting rate. The only unanimous selection in the history of baseball. And it's like, well, Trevor Hoffman's been overshadowed again.
That really was the story. That was the story of his career, really.
But then again, if you look at Trevor, if you ask Trevor Hoffman, hey, are you the best closer in baseball? I would hope he would say, no. I mean, how many World Series did Trevor Hoffman win close out?
Well, none. I mean,
no.
I mean, he had that chance when the Yankees faced the Padres in '98,
Yeah.
and he blew the save in Game 1. I want to say he blew another one in that series. I'm trying to remember if there was. I know the Game 1 was the Brocious and the Bernie Williams game. Um, but yeah, I mean they went head to head in that World Series.
Yeah.
And not to mention every All-Star game he pitched in was a disaster.
Every time Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera went head to head,
Didn't go so well.
it didn't go so great for Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, you're right.
And I mean, I feel bad for the guy a little bit, but
I do too. I mean, Trevor. I mean, nobody's saying not. It's not that Trevor's not talented. He is. It's just that it was a lot of people think he was a manifestation of the NL. Back then the NL was offensively deficient. There wasn't a whole lot of big offense in the National League, and he pitched in a pitcher's ballpark. I mean, that's really what a lot of people felt. That's the bottom line. So Mariano pitched in the American League East his whole career, and he had to face teams like the Red Sox and the Orioles, and I mean, all these offenses. So it makes what he did, especially one pitch, even greater of a challenge. The other thing I would say this too. It always makes you wonder. I always wonder, and I know that the claim was made that he was going to retire that year. I wonder what would have happened if he hadn't gotten hurt, shagging the fly balls. And, he missed that. That was the only year he missed, obviously. Yep. And he came back and he played that one last year to say goodbye the right way. I know he claims that year he got hurt. That was going to be it. But for some reason, people felt like he was already starting to change his mind. And when he came back that last year, like, well, you know what? He already got hurt, and he was afraid that he didn't want to end his career, take a chance, and have a career end that wasn't on his terms. Like, he didn't want to have that kind of ending. He wanted to have an ending that was his choice, the way he wanted to do it. He didn't want to keep taking chances. So, okay, this is my final year. I'm not going to extend it out. I'm not going to go year to year anymore, whatever. And I just think he wanted to take control of it before it was, because I think that scared him. That, well, boy, I got injured. What happens if I can't pitch again? You know what I mean? And now I ended my career on a down note. This way I get to end my career on an up note, still with the idea that I have gas left in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really what he wanted to do. And because he could have still pitched. He really could have still pitched. And here's the other thing. The man never got he never got what he deserved money-wise. He never had a big contract.
Didn't need it.
He didn't. He felt like he didn't need to. He earned. You knew he was worth whatever you could give him, but he didn't care about that. He just cared about going out there. He cared about winning, and that's what he cared about. And I mean, look, and it's kind of fitting that it goes to this accolade goes to somebody like him instead of somebody else. Because you really can't be negative about it. It's somebody that's probably one of the least egotistical people in sports ever, and it's somebody that nobody in the media could ever really hate or even and you can't say a bad thing about him. You really can't. He treats everybody with the utmost respect. I mean, his speech is going to be. I mean, you want to see an ovation. But I mean, anybody that thinks that Jeter is going to get unanimous, he isn't. Nope. He's not. He's just not. He's going to get in first ballot. He'll be in next year. But he ain't going to be unanimous. No way. No. But cool day, very cool for baseball. I'm glad the writers got it right, and Cooperstown should be fun this summer. That's for sure. All right, wrestling. Let's go. We got to get to wrestling. And we're going to go over the match card pretty quickly here because we want to be able to focus on the Rumble matches. We did get some questions and comments, not as much as I thought we would get. I'm going to be honest with you folks. I decided, I know we're going to do a segment with questions and comments. We're not going to do that tonight because a lot of your questions and comments are going to be addressed when we're discussing the matches, particularly the Rumble matches. So we're not going to do a separate segment. It'll be within this segment. Also, the Raw and SmackDown highlights as well will be within this segment, because when you're talking about these matches, this stuff's going to naturally come up, and a lot of your questions and comments will be addressed too. So that way, it kind of kills three birds with one stone in a way. So I don't want you to think I'm not acknowledging other things we usually do or other things I said we do. We are. It's just that the way it kind of pans out, it all kind of folds into one segment. So just keep that in mind. All right. Quickly though, a couple things have been added to the pre-show. 2 matches have been added to the pre-show. And those are the 2 matches we're going to start off with by previewing first. The first match added to the pre-show is the United States Championship match between Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. I'll just do a quick preview because I think this match is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not surprised it was moved to the pre-show because, you know, it's something that's on a low priority. It should still be a cool match. I really like this feud. I think that it's the first time in a long time since Nakamura's gotten the U.S. title that it feels like, you know, the U.S. title matters. It's been great usage of Rusev. It's been great usage of Nakamura. I've liked Lana's role in it. I think they've done a great job with this feud. It's nice to have a true mid-card feud that you feel like is important in a way. I still think Nakamura's going to. I think Rusev's going to retain here. Only because I think they might. I'm thinking they're going to keep Nakamura in this feud. I think this is going to end up being a multi-person match at WrestleMania. And I think they'll probably want Rusev to come in as champion, only because I think that this is their way of keeping Rusev happy, because you know that there was a period last year where it didn't seem like he was. So I don't think they're going to hotshot this title back to Nakamura here. He's keeping his heat without having the title, so I think it'll be a good match. I think Rusev retains here. Mike?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Rusev retains here as well. It's on the pre-show, so I don't think there's going to be a title change at all. Rusev is just getting started with his reign. He might do something good. He might be shovel shit. Who knows? They should be prepping Shinsuke for bigger and better things, but hey, we got to get the rematch out of the way, I guess. So
yeah,
Rusev will win more than likely.
And they do like their faces winning on kickoff shows, so
it's true.
And then the other kickoff show, the Cruiserweight Championship Fatal 4-Way match. Buddy Murphy versus Akira Tozawa versus Kalisto versus Hideo Itami. Mike?
This is interesting. This one's interesting because they're actually building up Hideo Itami to maybe take the win here, but I don't know. I think because there have been reports that Hideo has been unhappy, they might give him a renewed push. And unfortunately, that might mean cutting Buddy Murphy's title reign off at the knees a little bit. But on the other hand, Hideo Itami's always good, man.
Yeah.
Hideo Itami's always good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I say Buddy Murphy's going to win.
You make a point about Hideo Itami. You even had Daniel Bryan doing interviews where he's mentioning Hideo Itami and what he's done to him, you know? Yeah, I know what you mean. And one of the big questions we got in our email in regards to wrestling was, you know, all this talk about AEW and people wanting to leave, like the Revival and that, and how they're all going to get pushes because WWE doesn't want people to leave and make it look like a mass exodus.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if anybody that seems unhappy is probably going to get a push of some sort. We like to call this the Dolph Ziggler push.
Although, ironically, Dolph Ziggler kind of declined a renewal on his contract this week, too, so...
Well, you know what they offered him, right?
No.
They wanted him to be a producer or agent.
No.
That's what they offered him. And apparently he turned it down. That's what they're saying, so... but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see where he ends up, but
he might end up in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, he says he's going to focus on his comedy career, but I don't know how much I believe that. I mean, I think he will, but I think he's going to do other things too.
Yep.
But yeah, this match is. I kind of wish they didn't put this on the kickoff show because, but then again, what else would they have done? The This should be a good match. It should be a fun match. I think Buddy Murphy's going to lose here because they can protect him here.
They could. It probably will be to Tommy, but
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're going to give the title to a Tommy here, thinking with the idea that, well, okay, it's not going to hurt Buddy Murphy because he don't have to get pinned.
although I think Buddy Murphy's actually going to pin Kalisto.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's kind of what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to go Hideo Tommy in this match.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun match. Definitely a good crowd match. Get the crowd going. All right, now we go to the main card, and then we have SmackDown Tag Team Champions: The Bar versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. This one I'm gonna be short and sweet. If you watch SmackDown tonight, they had The Bar get the upper hand. I know that doesn't always work out, but 9 times out of 10 it does. Look, we already knew before tonight that Miz and Shane are gonna win this match. And tonight cemented it. Miz and Shane are going to win this match, and then I don't know if it's going to lead to, because I know the running theme before the McMahons took back Raw and SmackDown was that Shane was going to turn heel on Miz. That could still be the plan. I don't know. I'm imagining it still is the plan. But in order for that to have the best storyline, it's going to be Miz and Shane winning, and I'm guessing eventually, Shane will turn on Miz and The Bar end up getting it back. Probably. I'd imagine. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, Miz and Shane are going to win this. It's going to be more or less just a storytelling match anyway. So, yeah, Miz and Shane to win. Mike?
I don't like saying that Miz and Shane are going to win. I think it might be like a DQ or something.
Okay.
To kind of like get that going. You would kind of extend the feud here, because the one thing with this is Miz and Shane don't need to win the tag titles. They don't, and if they do win, it'll just kind of come off as some kind of fluke, which is weird considering it's the Miz and Shane McMahon. But I mean, the writing's on the wall here. The Bar are they're gonna lose. But and they're probably going to win the titles back when it comes time to start the Miz Shane McMahon issue. So
somebody actually sent me said this is actually a good theory. What if they just, since Shane was so reluctant to team up with the Miz, right? What would happen if this was just a way to humiliate the Miz, because Shane feels humiliated himself of all the things that Miz has been doing. So right in the middle of the match, he hangs Miz out to dry and just leaves him in the ring.
It's a very much a possibility.
Instead of doing some lame tag team reign that they don't need, you just have like Shane just be like, you know what, you've kind of been humiliating me lately. You've been a pest, and I don't need this anymore. About to tag him in, he just pulls his hand back and just steps down and walks out on him.
It's always a possibility.
Yeah, that is a possibility. Especially they need to save time on the card. Because the Rumble matches need time. So, next up, we have SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka versus Becky Lynch. Mike?
Ironically, there's 11 spots left in the Women's Rumble. Makes you wonder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Asuka's going to win this match. I'm not as 100% sure as I probably would have been last week, but I think Asuka's going to win this match. I don't think they're going to cut her title reign off the knees, because I think they're going to need to get Becky towards Ronda Rousey. And herp a derp, here we are at the Royal Rumble. What's the best way to get Becky towards Ronda Rousey? Well, if she loses the match with Asuka and wins the Royal Rumble, well, she could fight the champion of her choice at WrestleMania, eh? So, and look, I don't know if Asuka's gonna pin or submit Becky here. Becky loses absolutely nothing in getting pinned or submitted here. It actually helps Asuka's credibility a bit, which is ironic that we have to say that, but I think Asuka's definitely going to win here. I think she might win by pinfall. Charlotte could interfere. Ronda could interfere. Who knows? But I think Asuka is definitely going to win here.
The placement of this match is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It really is because I'm not sure. I mean, I'm hearing that probably the women's rumble is going to main event the show, but if that's the case, Becky's winning the rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but but yeah, I think there's no doubt Asuka's going to retain here. It's just a matter of whether it's going to it's going to end up being a clean victory or if there's going to be some kind of interference of some sort. And not by on her thing, but just like Charlotte deciding to screw with them or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'll come from Charlotte if it comes from anybody personally. But yeah, I think Asuka. It's good. I'm interested in the match though. I like that they're getting a singles match here. So and I think the crowd will be all into it. They're into it tonight. So
They were, but they Asuka attacked her from behind, so Becky from behind, so Asuka's now the heel, I guess.
and they are picking up the Asuka Charlotte thing. They did that a little
Yeah.
bit tonight, so that makes you wonder too. Yeah. So, all right, Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks. Yeah, this is an easy one to call. Ronda's not dropping it, obviously. So, again, this is just a way to give Sasha Sasha's one of those talents that's upset, right? So you give her a little bit of a push, and here you go. But yeah, it's, Ronda wanted to face Sasha. It's kind of like Brock wanted to face Finn Balor a year ago, but and he picked Finn Balor to this match, Ronda wanted to face Sasha Banks, and now she's facing Sasha Banks. So it'll be a cool match to see. It's a nice little test for Ronda, I guess. But yeah, Ronda's winning this match. No doubt about it. Mike?
What?
I threw to you.
What did you ask? I'm sorry.
Ronda, Sasha.
Ronda Sasha. Sorry, I was looking something else up. God, I don't care about this match. Ronda's going to retain because Ronda always retains. Until for the time being. It'll probably be Ronda's best match. But Ronda's going to retain. Sasha will be in the Rumble. I think with Sasha, the big deal for her is she's going to be building towards the tag team titles.
Yeah. It was already said, too, that it's looking like a team from Raw is going to probably win the Elimination Chamber thing. So,
yeah, surprise.
Yeah. That'll be their way of keeping her happy.
Yep.
No doubt. All right, next up, we have WWE Champion Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. Oh, Mike, I'm guessing you're really looking forward to this.
The new Daniel Bryan, excuse yourself.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Versus AJ Styles. My name's AJ Styles. I'm the most interesting man on the planet. Boom. I did that. No, he's not. Long story short, Daniel Bryan's going to retain here because I think Daniel Bryan, most of their WrestleMania plans probably have him carrying the belt into WrestleMania, regardless of who he's wrestling. And look, Daniel Bryan is getting over it as a mega heel right now. He really is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not so much a mega heel, but he's really getting over as a heel. Reminding everybody how he is. He is one of the best possible heels on the roster if he really tries. And it's not like he's saying bad things. He's saying bad things about people. Sure, he's calling them impotent, which is arguably really funny. But with Daniel though, he's doing great work. There's no reason to keep AJ Styles around the title feud at this point in time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Bryan's going to retain here. This is kind of like the blow-off match because they can keep AJ around the title at the Chamber. So it's like, okay, that fills that gap, and then they can start building. And it was said he was going to face Orton, and so I'm guessing this match will be earlier in the night. He'll lose this match, and then either Orton will eliminate him or he'll eliminate Orton. Especially since Randy Orton came back at the end of SmackDown tonight and RKO'd Samoa Joe after Samoa Joe completely took over the entire show. Nice to see them focusing on him again. But I digress. But yeah, it's going to be a cool match, but it's going to be the blow-off match. But yeah, Daniel Bryan's going to retain. Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. Obviously, this match had changed from what it was supposed to be, and depending on who you believe, this was always the plan. I don't know, but we'll see. But then again, Braun did work a match on Raw Monday, so But yeah, Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. I think this is going to be a good match because Brock has had better matches with smaller guys recently. He wants this match, so he's going to be motivated. Finn's not winning. I know they went out of their way to make it look good last night, but they had to because Operation. We had to build a challenger in 2 weeks' time because in case you haven't noticed, WWE likes to build things up and then change them at last minute because it sells tickets that way. Just like John Cena got an injury last week that they waited a week to announce, and now he's going to be pulled from the Rumble. And by the way, folks, if you checked out the John Cena interview a month ago, he said that around January 20th he was going to start filming a new movie. Like I said. Things that make you go,
Lots of things that make you go,
Yeah, and, but we'll talk about Cena in a minute. But anyway, yeah, this is something, they kept Braun in the match long enough for the tickets to be sold and people to be interested, and then they moved them out of the match. Finn's not winning this match.
And then they bring Braun back on Monday, so.
Yeah, Finn's not winning this match. But he'll make Brock look good. He'll look good in defeat. And we'll all move on with our lives. And Finn will move on to, like, Dean Ambrose or something. But, yeah, that's what's going to happen here. It'll be a cool match, but Brock Lesnar is going to retain the championship at the Rumble. Mike?
Yeah, pretty much. Although, again, you kind of build up Finn Balor now.
Yeah.
And you're making it seem like he's going to win the title. I might run a bullshit finish here just to protect Finn a little bit more. Excuse me. Yeah, I'd run a bullshit finish just to have Finn win by DQ or something. Because you might as well keep him over.
Well, problem with that is then people are going to want a rematch.
Well, yeah, we are going to want a rematch. But let's face it. If the Royal Rumble winner is coming from Raw, hint, hint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by the way, that's my train of thought. Shoot. Oh, they went out of their way to explain that he wasn't going to use the demon. Because when you use the demon, Vince would want him to win because he wants to keep that character's credibility intact.
Yep.
So if he was the demon, then he'd probably be winning.
Yep.
So that's one way to kind of know. All right. We have the men's Rumble match and the women's Rumble match. We'll do the men's one first because that's the one I don't think is going to main event. Like I said, Randy Orton came back tonight. You had Samoa Joe going crazy. You had Mustafa Ali, who they're kind of setting up like maybe a Cinderella story if he's involved here. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre were the odds-on favorites, but now I think you have to think Braun Strowman could be one because he's obviously going to be in the Rumble now. Mm-hmm. We have Rey and Andrade. I like how we built up some feuds going into this. Samoa Joe, Mustafa Ali. They've gone away to make Joe look like a monster. We have Rey and Andrade, who had a great match tonight, which Joe interrupted. So you got that going into the match. You got Orton and AJ in this match because that was kind of hinted at already. Cena, as I mentioned, will probably be pulled from the match, which originally, I don't know if you all heard, but remember we talked about Lars Sullivan being Cena's WrestleMania program.
Mm-hmm.
I guess originally Lars was supposed to debut and take Cena out of the Rumble, injure him to the point where he can't be in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, that's why they came up with what Drew did to him last week took him out of the Rumble. So now it looks like we know what Cena's program is going to be, which means I don't think Drew's winning the Rumble.
Nope.
They went out of their way to mention that Drew McIntyre is what happened to John Cena. So, and look, I thought that's what they should have done anyway. So that doesn't bother me. But yeah, you got that, and who knows? They could always have surprise appearances. There's talk that Batista's back on the table now, that he might be in play for WrestleMania. Undertaker could be in play for WrestleMania. So you always have to look at those guys, any kind of returns in the Rumble as being something. Obviously, there'll be some surprises as well. There's been some talk of Carlito. There's talk of that every year, though.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the people that are still grasping the hope that Kenny Omega shows up, especially if Cena gets taken out of the Rumble and there's an extra spot left. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. And folks, this whole nonsense that he can't be at the Rumble because his contract will expire. AJ Styles had the same situation, and he was in the Rumble. So don't look if he's gonna sign with WWE, they're gonna debut him on Sunday night. That's just the way it's gonna be, at least in my opinion. I don't think he's coming, but I still wouldn't write that completely off. So, who do I think is going to win? I think Rollins is going to win. If not Rollins, I think it's Strowman. But I think it's Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is going to be the one that beats Brock. I don't think they're giving it to Strowman anymore. I think they want it to be Rollins because I think they think it'll be a bigger moment if Rollins gets it. I think with Strowman, they think it's, well, big guy versus big guy. It's not as big of a moment. And I think they killed the moment by having them have too many matches. I think that's a part of it too. And that's their own fault. But I digress. I think Rollins is winning the Rumble. Now, I think it'll be a good match because I think this is one of those matches like where the people are going to be happy no matter who wins it. It's not. I mean, Roman's not in it this year. Although if Roman had come back somehow, people would be on Roman's side because of everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no cloud hanging over the Rumble this year. Where people are like dreading like a Cena's going to win or Roman's going to win or you're not dreading that possibility. So and obviously things have. I mean, we wish Roman well. I'm not trying to say bad things about Roman. I'm just saying that's in the past few years that was always a driving force. So, Mike, your thoughts?
The men's Royal Rumble match. There's a lot of doubt, but I agree with you. There's definitely a lot more possibility, and we can kind of narrow it down a little bit. I think there's three guys it could be. I think it's generally going to be one of these three guys. It's going to be, and I agree, it's going to be Rollins, it's going to be Strowman, or it'll be Ali. And it probably won't be anybody else. Unless they get Kenny Omega, then it'll be Omega, period. And yes, if for some reason they're able to get Kenny Omega is going to be winning the Royal Rumble. He's probably going to be challenging Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania because that's a money matchup right there. However, since it's more than likely that Kenny's going to stick with his buddies and go to AEW, and outside of maybe 2 matches, I don't know what the fuck he's going to be doing in AEW, and we've already covered that at length. It'll be. I think Rollins is the top choice this year.
Yeah,
I think Rollins is the top choice. I think. But though, if it's not Rollins, I think that giving Strowman that match. Look, there's still investment in Braun Strowman.
yeah.
And the thing with Braun is, you're going to need to put the title on him at some point, and you're going to have to give him a run. Because, for the love of Christ, we're about a year and a half now past due on Braun Strowman getting the push. You sacrificed him at the altar of Brock twice to kind of get the title on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And when you decided to blow your nut and not do that, you sacrificed him for Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And then when you put him in the match at Crown Jewel, you fuck up there. You have to pull the trigger on Strowman at some point. You have to kind of give the guy a chance to run. Because the dude was over organically. He was over organically. And he still is. But he's not as over as he was. So, this is an issue of WWE's own making. Now, Rollins versus Brock is a big moment. We've been building to it for a little bit now. since Rollins was in his first or second Intercontinental title reign.
Mhm.
But for the love of Pete, you got to do something with Braun. But if they decide to go in a different direction, there's a possibility that they can. Then you would definitely kind of think Mustafa Ali here. Because one of the other programs they've been building kind of now it's kind of under the radar is Ali versus Bryan. And Ali versus Bryan is a very interesting story. It's light versus dark. It's what Bryan was to what Ali is. It's a very interesting story in that way.
Mhm.
And Mustafa Ali, he looked really good apparently against Samoa Joe in defeat. He cut an amazing promo. An amazing promo before the match. So there's definitely a lot of money in Ali, and they're seeing a lot of money in Ali, and they should see a lot of money in Ali because there is. So, he's the distant third choice because they've gone with a SmackDown guy 2 years in a row.
Right.
If they choose to go with a third, it can be nobody else but Mustafa Ali. But and I think he'll do good things in the Rumble. I think he'll do good things. But if they choose to go in a different direction than Rollins or Strowman, it's going to definitely be Ali. So I think it's going to be Rollins, Strowman, Ali. Or Omega, I guess. Find out on Sunday.
Kofi's teasing something big for the Rumble, which I guess he always gets a spot, but
well, normally.
Yeah, so he's teasing something big. They're teasing New Day splitting up again, but because I know there's been some talk of Vince wanting to change things up with them, but yeah, I'll believe when I see it. Last match, Women's Royal Rumble, and really this match is coming down to Charlotte Becky. Here's the thing. It's gonna be cool. There might be a few legends that guess it's like the men's match, but you know what this is gonna come down to? It's gonna come down to Charlotte and Becky. Either Becky's gonna win or both women are gonna win. And they're gonna do that tie spot, which I can see coming. If it's a triple threat, they're both gonna win. If it's a singles, well, I mean, I could still be a triple threat, I guess, because Becky can win and Charlotte can find a way in the match later, or they could have Charlotte win. If it's not main eventing, Charlotte could win, and then Becky gets her. They give Becky the Daniel Bryan push, where she has to work extra hard to get into the match, which fits her whole gimmick if you think about it. But I mean, look, there's a lot of possibilities here. Ultimately, like I said, if it main events, Becky wins. If it doesn't main event, I think Charlotte wins. That's where I'm seeing it. I don't think they'll run the tie spot, but I think that's always a possibility if they want to just easily build a triple threat. I think that's an easy way to do it. Well, not easy, but like a way to just get all done at the same time. So it'll be a cool thing. We'll see what happens. But right now, I would say Becky probably wins. But those other possibilities do exist. And again, that's really all I can see as far as this match goes. That's the only possibilities I can see. Mike?
I agree. It's either going to be Becky or Charlotte, or it's going to be now they're going to use it to build up Asuka's challenger.
That's true. That could be a possibility.
Because they might figure that Becky and Charlotte don't need it really. But
they can eliminate each other, and then somebody else wins.
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's going to be 95% Becky, 3% Charlotte, 1% Ember Moon, and then 1% other. Other would be somebody else who wins the Rumble to challenge Asuka, and not anybody else.
Right.
So it could be Naomi, but I don't think it'll be Naomi.
Okay.
But it's gonna be it's more than likely gonna be Becky Lynch because you're gonna need somebody who's red hot to kind of get people excited about the Women's Rumble, and there's nobody better. And then we're looking at Charlotte, and then I think Ember Moon distant third.
Okay. All right, and that's all the matches. So yeah, and I think we addressed pretty much all the big topics and questions, and like I said, we kind of did a lot of things. We mentioned a few things from Raw and SmackDown. We kind of addressed a few questions and comments within the matches themselves. That's just the way it worked out. Like when I sat down and looked at what we were getting and what we had to do, I kind of said, you know what, this is the easiest way to do it. That's why I decided to add other topics to the show. And the easiest way to do it was to just kind of go into all the matches and then bring everything into it. Because that's just the way it worked out with everything we had to work with. So I know I said we do a separate segment for things, but there was just no need to do that. So in the future, we usually do that with questions and comments, but there's just no need to do it. Another thing, too, by the way, remember, Alexa Bliss has been cleared. She will be in the Women's Rumble. That's something else to keep in mind, too. I don't think she'll win, but I'm just saying she's in it. So
She's definitely not going to win, but she's going to be in it. So is Lacey Evans.
Yes. So, and by the way, it seems that Vince really, really likes heavy machinery.
You don't say.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, just throwing that one out there. I was just reading that right now. I'm like, oh, well, there you go. All right. So it's already after midnight. We've gotten through everything. So let's get going here. Let's wind this thing down. The show might be yours. That means you have to stop interacting, contributing to our show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your questions, reactions, opinions on things we talked about on the show. Topic ideas, breaking news items related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling that you want us to cover. Questions about the show, scheduling the show, any award submissions, whether it's live film award, live voted awards submissions, or obviously winning ballots, any of those things. Remember, submissions can only be done by email only, but if you have questions about the awards, you can do that by email, Facebook, or Twitter. So keep that in mind. The email for our show is itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And you can find us on Facebook. Just search In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook. And make sure that you like our fan page so you can interact with us and know what's going on and all that good stuff. Like tonight, there was delays and stuff. So you want to make sure that you follow us on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, so you have access to those updates and anything else related to the show. If you like to keep up with the show, you have two ways in which to do that. Keep up with the show, look back at classic episodes. You have two ways in which to do that. You can either stream us anytime on YouTube, to search In the Spotlight 411, and when you do, you'll be taken to our show page on YouTube, where you can stream any of the episodes we've ever produced for YouTube. That's every episode from mid-October 2015, right up to tonight's current episode. Those episodes are available for you to stream anytime you want on YouTube. Just search In the Spotlight 411. If streaming is not your thing, maybe you're interested in just listening to the show, listen to us on the go, or you're interested in older episodes of the show. If any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on those sites. When you do, you'll be taken to our show pages on both sites. We will have access to every episode we've produced in the 8 years we've been doing the show. So every episode from our original Blog Talk Radio run, from our Talk Shoe run, from our current YouTube run, from every episode we've ever done, from October 2010 way up to tonight's current episode, right up to tonight's current episode. All episodes transfer into audio format for your convenience, including our YouTube episodes. Every episode in order from the most recent, that being tonight's, way back to the oldest, back in October 2010. All those episodes are available for you to listen to anytime you want on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search In the Spotlight 411. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean and iTunes, and Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean and iTunes, your ways to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, to search for In the Spotlight 411. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
It is long past my bedtime. It is time for bed.
And I thank myself for another great show. Pat myself on back. Thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching or listening to this later, thank you to you as well. Thank you for your patience tonight with all the problems at the beginning of the show. So thank you for that. Thank also, the beginning of the show was a little bit weird. My wife was doing all that crazy stuff, but it was fun. Different for a change, I guess. So hope you enjoyed that. If not, blame her. And again, Thursday, we'll have another mixture of topics. I don't know if we'll do any more wrestling, but I'm leaving it open if anything pops up that we have to cover. But entertainment, we'll do box office beat, TV highlights will be back. I don't know about film highlights. I don't know, we might bring that back. I don't know when we're going to bring that back. And the sports side of things, we got college basketball to talk about. We got NFL, look back at Championship Sunday, all the bad calls, all the drama. Look ahead, we'll do a very early preview of the Super Bowl. That'll be what's coming at you on Thursday, in addition to any other sports, entertainment, wrestling you have to cover. And then next week, 2 shows. Tuesday and Thursday, again, will be a mixture of sports, entertainment, wrestling, whatever. I'll divvy up the topics. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but we'll figure it out next week. But among the things we'll be doing next week, a rundown of the Royal Rumble, how it all went, Raw and SmackDown, any other wrestling stuff, usual entertainment stuff. We'll also do our official Super Bowl preview, any other big sports stuff we have to cover. All that will be coming at you next week. With 2 shows. So that's what's coming up next week. I also told you what's coming up on Thursday. So now you know what's going on, and then we'll talk more about what's coming up after that in the coming days. So with that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great Wednesday, and a great Thursday. We'll see you back here Thursday night, hopefully at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, have a good night, everybody.